Hello and welcome to Rainy Day Crafting. Okay, today a very good friend just lost their dog. Very sad because if you've got animals, that their lives do end, don't they? But anyway, so I wanted to make a card. So basically, I did make her a card, and so then I thought actually it's quite a good card to do on here. So with no ado, my regular card that you'll see I use loads on here. Is this textured card. I really do like it. I think it's packs of 50 with the envelopes. I can actually get them from Hobbycraft. Anyway, so what we're going to do, just a little tip. I keep a lot of my dies on these magnetic sheets, okay? So when I then suddenly want something like all these little dogs or cats and things like that, a bit of grass, and I actually store them in a clementine's box, so you can sort of like unicorn rainbows, cats and dogs paws, and I look through whether it's flowers or whatever I want. So that's just an easy, reasonably cheap way of actually storing. Anyway, with no ado, let's get on. I'm actually going to use this stamp in here, but remember I'm going to use a stamp, but if you haven't got a stamp, this is not that hard to actually draw either. I'm also going to use a stamping platform, because you can again either draw on your card or use a stamping platform. And the beauty of a stamping platform, you put your card in here. If you now want to do a few, you put your card in here, line it all up, and then like in here, this has got different things in it. Hold on. I didn't stick it back on properly. Okay, normally it sits on the acetate. So on your card, you will place it where you want to go. So I want it to be at a reasonable height on the card. So there it is. And obviously it's this, what's going to make the impression, the stamp side down. So we pop it on there like that. That's simple. Shut the door on it, which then it will make it stick. There you have it. Then get yourself some pigment ink. I use Versafine. I really like this one. This is an onyx black, and you can use it for all your stamping. So right, now put this on here. And that, shut the door. I sometimes use one of these, which is like one of those game things, I think. I got it very cheap, I think about £3 off eBay, so they're not very expensive. But that will give a really nice, even pressure. There we go. If it hasn't taken, that does seem to miss this bit, whether it's actually unfortunate, it might be the manufacturing. You can do it again, where if you'd have just done this by putting a stamp on, and then by eye, you could end up not putting it in the right place. Okay, what with my channel here, my biggest thing is I want to be able to try and teach you some simple little ticks and trips. Okay, that doesn't sound right. To make it easier for you. Now here I've got some clear embossing powder. So because that stamping is wet, you literally, I just keep it in a box, pop the clear embossing powder on there like so. Yeah. Knock it off. So that would have now stuck to there. Put that out of the way because you want to put the heat gun on that. A little bit of noise. This is a heat gun. This is where the magic happens. As you put it on there, it melts the embossing powder you put on there, but it also gives it a very nice sheen. You see in the light, that's then give it a nice little sheen. So let's pop this out of the way now. So now, just for easiness, you can paint it, you can colour it, you can use felt tips. What I'm going to do, rainbow colours, so I'm going to literally start off the orange there. And because I try and make this a quick video as possible, I shall move that to one side. Here's one I've done earlier. Okay. Now in this little set, came some bits and pieces, and it's also got one of the cutout rainbows. Now, you don't have to do that. You can just hand colour that in. I've done one earlier, so I've cut one out, okay, so which I'm going to raise up, because I'm going to put, you can put a cat, dog, whatever to do with going over the rainbow bridge. All right, so again, one I've coloured earlier just to make it so it's much quicker. So I've then got this one cut out, but where I cut it out, although this is a different coloured one to be fair, because you can see I've obviously cut it out more than once. If you've cut that out, if you wanted to, you could just use that as a template and colour that in, or you could stick that down. You could put some little bits of the sticky back pads, or on the market, which I believe I got from Amazon. These are rather brilliant. They're strips. I don't know if you can sort of see. If I just now, I think I'll get away with a couple. They're sticky back, and so you literally would just pop that round, and because they sort of move exactly where you want them to go, I have to cut another little bit to put on there. Probably would have been easier to put one on and then another one. And you sort of see, hold that down like that. Maybe another little bit there, just to make sure it sticks okay. Should I put another one there? Too much on there. Let's cut a little piece off. Okay, so then that will stick there. So as you know, I mean, you could put more on there if you want to give it more definition. So these have a little backpack sticky back there, and pull these off. Probably should have done this as well, one I done earlier, shouldn't I? Anyway, there we have, and then stick that down. So then that will just raise up nicely there in the middle. Okay, just remember, you might not have this die, but if you want to do this rainbow card, you can just draw this out, can't you? Okay, so that's where we're at the moment. Now, again, to make it a little bit sort of quicker, I've got some dies here, and if I show you from these ones, that was a unicorn one. These I've got over the years at different places, you know, some cats. These are quite lovely, although I don't know how well you can see. It's a lovely little face. That's the one I actually used for my friend, because her dog didn't unlook. And although the dog's in a little frame, I then cut the frame off. So remember, when you use your dies or whatever, generally, you know, look beyond as they are. Here's some big ones. You know, obviously that'd be far too big on there. So what I've done, just again to make it a bit easier, I've cut a few out earlier. Some little dogs, little dash hound. This could be a sort of labby dog, couldn't it? All right. So I think, or if it's a cat, you could be putting that on there. So which would look quite lovely. So just for today, I'm going to put another dog. All right. So these, like I say, oh, and what I tend to do, another little tip, I've cut these out and they're ready to be used. So in the back, okay, what I would now do, oh, here's that one like I'd cut out earlier. Can you sort of see? I would then store these in the back of my envelope. So if you suddenly had to make a card quite quickly, you've got them all cut out ready. Okay, so, you know, that's always a good tip. And they're at hand for where you want them. So that's that. This was the one. I've actually kept them together. There's a bone, a little bone, I think, on there. But I've just kept them together for easiness. So obviously they're magnetic. And then pop them back. I try and sort of keep my things like this. Unless it's a set, I'll keep it all together. But if it's all sort of random, like animals, dogs, I'll have it like that, labelled cats and dogs. Yeah, dogs' paws. So there we have it. So now, this one now goes back. I think that's a trick too, not a trick, a tip really, that when you've done with whatever you've done, pop it back, because there's nothing worse laying it down and then when you go to use it again another time, something's missing. So again, I think in here, look, I've got, you can't see them very well, but some little suns from when I done one earlier. This actual Gemini one, actually, where you use that metal bit there, you actually do it so it does move. But for easiness today, I'm going to make it an easier card. I'm not going to show that, but I might show it another day. So if you can imagine, say that sun, that would then be moving from there to there. So it's a moving card, which is quite nice too. But anyway, so here we have this. So you've got to think about what sort of words you want on here. So I'm going to put some grass. I'm going to put some paw prints up here. Now what I've done, I had cut out some, just a little die that does paw prints. And, oh, here it is. Here's one I cut out earlier. And I then done it 3 times on this bit of card, which you could then keep. So what I'm going to do here, all right, with a little dauber that's basically been in the VersaFine. Now be careful because, this is sort of quite messy. So once you've, put it down, don't move it. You could stick it down if you're happier doing that, but then just roll it around on those 3 little paw prints. A sort of reasonable coat of the ink. Dauber back in here. Take it off carefully so it doesn't mark. If you're going to use that again, let it dry, because if not, if you accidentally now touch that, you will have ink all over your hands. So pop that away. Always check your hands, because I think I've got a little bit on there now actually. Again, I think you could just leave them plain. You don't have to do it. The embossing powder, can you sort of see obviously how it is like there? It's just sort of matte really. But when you then pop a little bit of this on here, that'll stick. Obviously you need to do it quite quickly after you've done your little bit of stamping. And heat gun a little bit quickly here. Can you see that in the light? It's quite lovely. Okay, so now obviously for your sentiment, use what you've got. I mean, I've got one here I could print on here, like Over the Rainbow Bridge. This is one that comes from, I think, Craft Stash. Over the Rainbow, there's lots of sort of lovely, it doesn't have to be when someone's lost a dog, but all to do with, like I work hard so my pet can have the better life, etc, etc. So there's some lovely stamps about. Anyway, we're going to put this dog on this one. It's quite big on there, but then maybe you want to sort of be sort of a fairly sort of focal point. But I'm also going to put some grass. That came off my unicorn stamp, I believe. And I just want to show you too, I've done these earlier again to make it a bit sort of quicker, how like odd bits of card, how this is meant to be knitting, I believe, but I actually think that looks quite good, doesn't it? Grass. This is another bit of odd paper, using up some of your scraps. That's quite effective. Yeah, so we're going to put some grass on there. I think I'll use that one. But look beyond your stash of using some up. And sometimes what I do again, I'll store these at the back. So then if I have to make a card quickly, or this one I just did in some plain green. All right, which actually I might just do that one today. Okay, so that's going to go there. I would put some more of those. I've done them now, right in front of me. Another one of these. Which can go on. It's easy to use these. Let's just have it stand up a little bit more. I don't know whether to put that there. Yeah, line it up as best you can. And one, if you want to use a ruler, if it makes it easier, do that. And then here we have. Like I say, line it up. That's going to, oops. If you want to cut it down a bit, you can. Yeah. So that's on there. I'm going to then pop the dog, or maybe even tuck him in there actually. Yeah, I think I'm going to tuck him in. So what I'm going to do is use a bit of this sticky back on his back. His or hers. you see sort of tails in the grass. Okay, so as you can see, it's a little bit 3D. Hairs fell out of him. So that's a little bit. I think it's okay. I think it's, I won't show that a little bit. Now, what sort of sentiment? You could put hugs. You could put sorry for your loss. I've just done thinking of you. Now, this is what you call a shadow sentiment. You know, like I say, if you've got a box of sentiments, stamps, whatever, you put whatever you want on your card, or make the card as personal as you want it to. These ones, how well you can you see that's literally the shadow, and this one will, again, using up your scraps maybe, that will now stamp out or die cut, I should say. So here's where I've done it earlier. So can you see in the background there? That's the background stamp. That does it in such a way that you get the 3 words. So, which I think is enough. So, thinking of you, which you can, I would try, actually this, because it's a textured card, you can line that up. Okay, so that would be stuck on there. Then to finish it off, I would probably pop a little heart in there, because, you know, they do wrench our heart chakra, to say the least, don't they? So this again is just some odd scrappy bits of card paper that you've got around. So fiddly. Sometimes I sit in front of the telly on an evening if I've got some scrappy paper, and then I scrappy cards, and just do a load of hearts, and then I've got them ready for a later date. So I'll pop a heart in there, and maybe a couple of little gluey spots. Lost my glue. Up here maybe. If I was now leaving this to dry, I would put something heavy on this. Okay. Let it dry. Might even put another one over here. I don't think you can see, there's a little mark on there, which rather than it be your cards wrecked, nobody necessarily knows there's a mark. And I'm just putting a heart over it as well. Okay, so this, I would now put some glue on here, or you can use, you could raise it up again with that sticky. Try and line it up so you know exactly where it's going. So thinking, hold it down, bit of weight. You can put it right together so it looks like all joined up. And there we have a lovely card. Like I say, I'd use one of my stamping blocks to hold that on there for a while, and even sort of, you know, anywhere really, just sort of make sure everything's staying where it needs to be for a while. Okay, so there you go. We have a thinking of you card, because it is very sad when these animals pass on, isn't it? So till the next time, if you enjoyed watching me, leave me a comment. If there's something in particular you'd like me to show you, just leave me a comment. I like to sort of read, well, there's not many comments gone there, to be fair, because I'm still fairly new to this. But just another little tip, where my dies are, I mean, okay, you might be really good and think, oh, I know it says thinking of you. Sometimes you can look at them and think, what does that say? So what I've done, just make it easier, have cut it on some scrappy card and then stuck it onto a bit of paper, and then I keep these in little bags, so they're very, very easy. And then I, for example, like here, they're all in here, you know, just wanting to say that sometimes, you know, it's just enough. Okay, so anyway, till the next time, thank you very much for joining me, and see you soon. Cheers. Cheers then. Bye.